Illyrian, Illyrian, Illyrian. Well, the Illyrians are back. Apparently, they were first introduced in Star Trek Enterprise, but full disclosure, guys, I've tried twice now to get through Star Trek Enterprise season one. I stop in the middle. I know folks say it gets better, and I promise I'll watch Star Trek Enterprise because that's the big black hole I have in my Star Trek watching. I have not finished Star Trek Enterprise, and I guess they appear around the time of the Shindy War. Which what is that? Season four? The Shindy War, or is this season three? I don't know. But I will watch it, and then I'll know more about the Illyrians. But we did get a little bit of backstory here for those of us who were not familiar with who the Illyrians were. And they are a race of humanoid aliens who deal with genetic manipulation. So Star Trek Strange New Worlds is going in deep with all these things that are supposedly not supposed to go down in Starfleet. Episode one, Pike's like, F the Prime Directive, because technically it was still General Order 1. And then, at the end of the episode, they were like, you know what? I think we need to get stricter with this. Episode 2, he was F the Prime Directive again, pretty much, with deciding to move that comet. And then this episode, it's like F genetic engineering. So this Star Trek series is just like, whatever. We're going to go heavy on all these things and give our position on it, which may be different than what we have seen in later treks. And I'm fine with it. I don't mind it at all. I did like that they dealt with this issue of genetic engineering right up front. And for those that don't know, my friend Peter and I are doing a Star Trek Deep Space Nine recap review every week. Last week we went on Tuesday because I had some stuff to do on Wednesday, but it looks like I'm going to have more stuff to do on Wednesday, so we may be on Tuesday night. And why am I mentioning this? For two reasons. One is because I want you to watch, because we have a lot of fun talking about Star Trek. So thank you those who have been watching. And two, because we got into that spoilers. Deep Space Nine gets into that with Dr. Bashir, but it was like way, 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 way late in the series. So it's kind of cool that this Strange New Worlds is just bang, 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 bang. We're gonna deal with all this stuff early on and give you a resolution quick. And it's what it's what Star Trek Strange New Worlds seems to be about. Moving quickly, definitely on a different pacing than all the other Star Treks that have been out recently. And I'm all in. I'm for it. Okay. I like all the different types of storytelling that Star Trek is able to do in this new phase. Okay. This is more traditional and it's fine. So like and subscribe to the page if you can. Guys, I had 4 cups of coffee today. It's very cold here in Sao Paulo. If I talk like I'm going nuts, it's because I am going nuts. But I wanted to get this out because Thursday night I was not able to make a video because I had a high school graduation to go to. It was so cute. Anyway, did I like this episode about the Illyrians? It was okay. And basic storyline. I'm not going to get into spoilers. Later in the video I will, and I'll give a nice little spoiler warning. But the basic idea is they go visit this planet where one segment of the Illyrians, because apparently the Illyrians have all they're all over space, and they all look kind of different because they genetically modify themselves to fit what the planet is like. They rather fit the planet than make the planet fit them, which is kind of cool in a way, kind of a cool concept. But the Enterprise crew is investigating this lost colony on an M-class planet. And of course, there's an ion storm. And ion storms means communication is going to be lost. It's going to be difficult to transport off the planet. we almost had this whole thing at the beginning where they're trying to transport off, and you think, oh my God, is this going to be the episode, where they get stuck in some weird transport accident and they come back all weird? Yes and no, because instead what we get is a classic Trek trope, which is something from the planet comes back with them and everybody starts to act weird. Spock and Kirk are stuck on the planet because Spock is off somewhere, and Pike, I said Kirk, right? And Pike goes and tries to help his friend. So they're stuck on the planet, which is a good way to focus the story on what's going on the ship and focus on another character this week. So this is also following that old Trek tradition of, hey, let's feature one character each week who is going to be dealing with something. In this case, it's Una, and we find out some things about Una that can really affect her Starfleet career. Without giving any spoilers, I'll say just that much. And everybody on the ship gets kind of wacky because definitely something comes back on the ship from this planet. So I don't want to say any more about that because I don't want to give spoilers. What did I feel? What did I feel watching this episode? I felt it played it very safe. That's been my main issue with Star Trek Strange New Worlds thus far, but it's not a big issue. It's just an issue. Is that it's stuff that I've seen before. It's updated, of course. It's what's the word here? Not a reboot, but it's I forgot the word that we want to use, but it's updated. It's updated for today's audience. If you're new to Trek, it's a great show to go in and maybe get used to how these Trek episodes go, and then go back and watch TNG, TOS, Voyager. But for me, I've been around the block. I've kind of been there, done that. I like when Trek takes a few more chances. Maybe it's going to fall flat on its face, but I like when Trek takes a few more chances, which I think is why I like Deep Space Nine so much and why I like Discovery as much as I do. It's a different view of the Trek universe while still being within the Trek philosophy of working together, helping each other, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this episode, more than last week and more than the week before, played it, I think, even safer because it did have an interesting revelation. Two interesting revelations, in fact, with the Doctor, too, that were pretty serious, but they resolved so cleanly. And I think I was looking for a little bit more of an emotional impact of what these revelations could have been for these characters, but I didn't feel that. I didn't feel anything at the end of the episode. Let's just put it this way. I just enjoyed it. It was like, an enjoyable 40 minutes or whatever, 45 minutes of television. But it didn't leave me feeling anything different than, when we do find out what we do about Bashir in season 5 or 6 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. That's got impact. That's got heft. Maybe it's because it took so long. So we've been with this character long enough where that really helps to explain a little bit of who he is, why he is the way that he is. So it carries a little bit more weight. I don't know if revelation so early in a series with characters we haven't been with that long can manage to do that. Okay, so that's my general feeling. Like for me, this is a B+ episode. It's Ion Storm. Seen that, been there, done that. How many times has Star Trek done? Hey, we're stuck on the planet. Communication's not working. Last minute save before things get really bad. And virus, whatever, something comes onto the ship that makes people act a little wacky. How many times have I seen that on Star Trek before? Whether it's done comedically, whether it's done um, more seriously, but been there, done that. So the only thing, that was kind of holding this episode together are these revelations, and I'm going to get into spoilers real soon because it's tough to talk about it without saying what the revelations are. So I'll get into spoilers real soon and talk about that. But it hinged on that, but on these revelations, but without the weight of knowing these characters a little bit longer. I don't know if those revelations, it just fell kind of flat for me. I guess that's what I'm saying. And guys, if it sounds like I'm like talking down on this series and or hating on it or anything like that, definitely not. I'm really enjoying Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So I hope it doesn't come off that way when I'm doing these reviews. All I'm saying is, been there, done that. That's it. I don't know if this series had come out. Like, imagine if Star Trek Strange New Worlds had been the first series that came out in this Trek renaissance. I guess it would have made some fans happy. They would have been, oh, Star Trek is back, Star Trek is back. But at some point, we would have needed a Discovery, or we would have needed a Picard. So, take Trek in a different direction, because having that same style, that same, monster or alien of the week, X-Files was monster of the week, alien of the week format, after a while, how many stories can you tell without it getting repetitive? And I think that's what happened with Star Trek Enterprise. People were just like, been there, done that. So that's just my feel. That's my feeling about it. I'm enjoying it, but it's kind of been there, done that. I rather watch Discovery take its chances and sometimes fall flat on its face, and sometimes have really cringe moments where you're like, oh my god, is Michael Burnham gonna cry again? I rather that, than this, but I'm enjoying this at the same time. So please don't think that I'm hating on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. And if I were, we're not obligated to love everything that comes out of the Star Trek universe at all. Like I said, I still haven't been able to finish Enterprise. And it's a little bit because of that, because I'm watching, and the episodes aren't bad at all. I think, watching it however many years later, what was it, 2000 something that it came out, in having that separation from when it originally aired, and having yet again another, bottle episode, spatial anomaly, alien, who is going to teach us some morality tale, some disease that's going to make you a little crazy, and then you're going to come out of it at the end. Having it so close to, Voyager either had just gone off the air, or maybe, I don't know if the two of them intersected or not. There was TNG right before it. It's like, just more of the same, more of the same, more of the same. I feel that that's a little bit of what made people not have as much interest in Star Trek Enterprise, until, I guess, people said in later seasons, when it started getting a little bit more season-long arc style, and it took a few more chances. In that sense, it got a bit more interesting. So who knows what Strange New Worlds is going to do as it moves, through its seasons. Now, we're going to get into spoilers. So spoiler warning right now. Are you still here? Okay. Well, the two revelations, guys, is Una is an Illyrian on the loose. Okay, she's an Illyrian, which for me was kind of a cool revelation, in the sense that she was kind of weird, man. Even when they introduced her in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, she was almost a bit robotic, she just didn't feel human. So it's nice to know that, hey, she's not human. She's an Illyrian. She's a genetically modified humanoid, because, like we said, the Illyrians dealt with genetic modification um, of themselves. And the implications of that is that they were not allowed to join Starfleet or have anything to do with Starfleet because of their genetic modifications or engineering, however you want to call it. And therefore, Una is kind of stuck, in this place where it's like, good Lord, what do I do? Because I got to tell the captain at some point. And how does she find out? It's because the away teams on this planet, when they come back, a virus comes onto the ship that travels through light, okay? And everybody starts getting a little crazy and they get really attracted to the light. And, they're like banging their heads on the walls and trying to get as close to the light as possible. But she is affected by it for like a second, and then she turns, it's almost like Doctor Who, like her face turns all fiery red because her system cleans out this virus. So that was weird. And I like that little part of it because it left me thinking, oh, what's going on with her? Is she trying to hide the fact that she's really infected? Is that part of what the virus does? She's going to, sabotage the ship? And in the end, no, it's just she didn't want people to know that she was an Illyrian. And we also find out that the security officer, Laan Noonien Singh, okay, is definitely related to Khan. So we get that out of the way, but we kind of knew that already, so it wasn't much of a revelation, except that these two have a close relationship, and I don't know what is going on with these two as far as their relationship. Is it a lesbian? I get lesbian vibes. I get like this vibe of like the two of them had something going on at some point. I don't know what it is. There seems to be an age difference there, but hey, it is the future. Jake Sisko was 16 dating a 20-something year old. So, it's the future. I guess maybe they're more liberal with that stuff. But you do get this vibe between the two of them. That's like, what's going on there? But Singh was definitely kind of angry, with Una when she discovered that, hey, you are also not also, because Singh is not, but her ancestors were, and she tries to keep that past, out of the conversation. She doesn't like to be connected with that because of what Khan did in the past. And she gets a little upset that, hey, why I can't believe you wouldn't tell me that you were also, I keep saying also, that you were, genetically modified. Like, you couldn't open up to me? You couldn't tell me this? I can't believe it. Okay? So, that opens up areas of their friendship or whatever ship a little bit more. I don't know. Okay? For me, she seemed too upset for it to be just a friendship. Who knows? Now, meanwhile, we also get Mbega, Dr. Mbega. He's got a little secret going on too, because they're trying to figure out how to fix this. Hammer goes down to sickbay and is fiddling around, trying to figure out what's going on. How can we? He wants to know what was it in the transport that was able to get this, in the transporter field, technobabble that got this virus on the ship. And Vega is standing in the way, like, you can't do it. Get out of here. You're not helping. And again, it added a little bit of mystery. Like, wait, is this virus making people also a little bit nutty in that sense? Are they going to sabotage the ship? And then we find out in the end that no, he's got his daughter in the medical transport, because she's got this disease, this incurable disease. So he's kind of holding her in stasis in a way until he can find a way to cure her. But like I said at the beginning, I didn't feel the emotional impact of it. I mean, because we haven't been with this doctor enough. We haven't gotten to know him. He seems like a nice guy. This is probably the most screen time he's had, but it just comes out of left field. And when stuff like that comes out of left field, like, I don't feel anything. Just like with Una, like, okay, it was interesting, but it just came out of left field, because then later, she has to tell Pike she wants to resign. I know we're not allowed to be in Starfleet, and Pike's like, I'll worry about that. I'm not letting you go, which we kind of knew was going to happen, but it was a lot of, these are big revelations, guys, to just be done at the end of the episode, and that's it. I mean, I don't know if these storylines will come back and play a bigger role as the season goes on, but it was too quick, too neat, and it made me feel nothing. Okay, and down on the planet, I thought that was a failed opportunity, man, because Star Trek, you know, it's it's managed to do some horror stuff a few times, not like heavy horror, obviously, but I thought that was a missed opportunity to do some creepy horror stuff on the planet, because in this ion storm, we see like these fire beings, whatever they look like, ghosts, coming flying through the sky, and we don't know what they are, and they're banging on the door, they're trying to get in, and it kind of resolves kind of quickly too when Spock surmises that, hey, these are actually the Illyrians that we think escaped the planet, or disappeared from this planet. They got infected with this light virus and turned into light beings. It was cute, but it didn't also, it was too quick. Like, we, the audience, kind of figured that out way before Pike and Spock did. And when that happens, it kind of takes away from the impact of the revelation, because it was pretty clear that that's who it was. And you could figure that out because on the ship, they're all turning into light beings. They're like in stage one of wanting to become light beings. And especially because Una went into a Doctor Who head turns into fire, arms turns into fire, or light transformation for a second. So again, okay. So this is for me the first kind of meh episode. It entertaining enough, but it's nothing that I'm gonna look back and say, "Oh my God, that was pretty incredible," or like, "Oh my God, remember that episode when this happened?" There was a space there. I thought there was a lot of space there to talk about some serious issues. One, Mbega and his daughter, and the implications of this, and the fact that he risked the lives of people on the ship. I mean, it was a mistake, but he kind of was responsible for some of this transporter malfunction that allowed the virus on the ship. The fact that, Pike didn't talk to him, or I don't know. It just was way too neat for me. But that would have been an interesting conversation to have. And too neat with just accepting the fact that Una is this genetically modified humanoid. And Pike is just like, yeah, it's cool. You're my home girl. You're on the ship. I mean, is that Lina? Is that her name? La'an. She was a little bit upset, but that was kind of a quick scene too. So didn't leave much of an impact. So I guess that's the main idea here. Not much impact from this episode, but it's entertaining enough. And I'm looking forward to more Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Hopefully these storylines, these threads do lead to something towards the end of the season. I know the showrunners before Star Trek Strange New Worlds came on did say that yes, it's episodic, but different than episodic of the past is that there are going to be running threads. We're not going to forget what happened last week. Um, the impact of something is going to remain and have its effects in the following episodes. So hopefully, all this stuff that came out in this episode does lead to something coming forward and leaves us in some type of a moral or ethical quandary and does more than just um, give us the morality tale of don't be prejudiced, because in the end that's kind of what it was, because Starfleet is against these genetically modified folks because of what happened with the eugenics war and Khan and blah blah blah. But hey, not all genetic modification can be put in the same box, because like Una said, the Illyrians don't do genetic modification to try to become super soldiers. They do it because they don't want to hurt a planet's ecosystem. They want to modify themselves to fit into the ecosystem instead of changing the ecosystem to fit them, which is kind of a nice thing, right? So that's it, guys. Sorry if this episode or this broadcast, I rambled kind of like an insane person a little bit. It's because I am. But I do hope to see you again. Thank you, everybody that's been watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the Deep Space Nine videos. Comment on that. We finished season 1. We're on season 2. We'll be on next week. Probably on a Tuesday. Maybe on a Wednesday. And, slight possibility of it being on a Thursday. Who the hell knows? We'll figure it out. I got to talk to my co-host and figure that out. Love you guys. Live long and prosper with a big old heart in the middle. Adios.